Hey guys, what's up and welcome to this video. Today we're going to cover the topic of SEO link building. In fact, we're actually going to cover my own website. Yep, that's right. I'm going to break down the methods and general thinking that helped me build over 2,000 backlinks to my website. Now, I know what you're thinking. Did you just go to Fiverr and buy 2,000 spammy links just so you can make this video? Well, whilst that's definitely an option, I didn't do that here. I mean, what do you take me for? These were pretty much all high quality backlinks that I built manually, and I've got the numbers and results to back up the quality of these links. For example, after building these links, I managed to 10x my traffic in 2021. I also managed to take my domain rating from basically single digits to 49. In fact, after using all of the techniques together, I actually secured a $5,000 per month client, and my website continues to generate amazing leads like this thanks to my link building efforts. Now, you might be familiar with some of the methods I used to get results here, but some of them, such as the one I'm going to cover in section 2, might be new to you. So make sure you stick around and watch to the end of this video, or else you might just miss out on that one tactic that will help you get the same results as me. So let's get started. Okay, a quick overview of how this video is going to go. So before we get into the main part of this video, I just want to quickly touch on how this video will be explained. If I do this, it will hopefully minimize any confusion later on. So basically, to build these links to my site, I used 3 approaches. So the HARO method, the Skyscraper tactic, and the video outreach strategy. In each section, I'm just going to cover how each approach works and some of the results I managed to achieve with each tactic. The stuff I'm going to cover here will hopefully help you figure out how you can use these tactics for your own site. So with that out of the way, let's just jump straight into things. So tactic number 1 was the HARO method, okay? So the first tactic we're going to cover here is known as the HARO method. If you didn't know, HARO stands for Help a Reporter Out. HARO is basically the name of a website that journalists use whenever they need a source. So you can visit at helpareporter.com. Now, keep in mind, there are other websites that journalists use to get sources, such as SourceBottle, for example. However, if someone gets these kind of links using a site like SourceBottle, people will still say they use the HARO tactic. At this point, it's kind of just become the blanket term for this approach. Anyway, how does this actually deliver links? Well, journalists will go to a website like HARO to find a credible source for an article they're writing. If you become a member of HARO, you can see these journalist requests, and you can then put yourself forward as a source. If the journalist chooses you as a source, they might then link to your website when they're writing that article, and that's basically how you get your backlink. Now, you might have some doubts about this method and whether it's worth the effort, but here's the thing you need to understand. You see, a lot of these journalists work for massive websites that have a ton of authority. Therefore, if you manage to get a link from one of them, it can have a huge impact on your site. I mean, here are some of the links I managed to secure using this method. Here's a link from the website cloudways.com. They have a DR of 89. Which is pretty amazing, right? And the method even helped me to get a link from Yahoo Finance, and they've got a DR of 92. It was these kind of links that allowed me to achieve such a rapid increase in DR as shown in this graph. It'd be nearly impossible to get these links and achieve these kinds of results without this technique. I mean, there's the option of paying for them, but you'd have to put up a decent amount of money, and I'm talking thousands here. Now, if you want a super in-depth guide on how you can get results with this strategy, I really recommend this video of mine, where I basically go through this tactic from start to finish. It's called How to Get DR 89 Backlinks with HARO in 2022. However, for now, I'm just going to cover a few things that you really need to be aware of when it comes to this tactic. For the most part, you really just want to make things as easy as possible for the journalist to feature you. So when you see a journalist request, you want to answer their question as clearly as you can. And it's really important that you hit all the points requested by the journalist. One of the unfortunate things about this approach is that lots of people know about this method, and so you're sadly going to have a lot of competition. But if you can provide a stellar, standout HARO response, you're going to increase the odds of the journalist going with your answer over somebody else's. Now, you should also include a headshot whenever you send in a response. Now, some journalists might ask you for a headshot, some might not. Either way, sending a headshot picture alongside your response is a good way to make life easier for the journalist. After all, if they see your response and they see that it also comes with a headshot, basically means less work for them in terms of having to request one. All of which means that they'll be more likely to go with your answer in the end. And this is the same for including your social media profile, your website, and all the social proof you possibly can. By the way, if you're enjoying this video, please take a moment to like and subscribe to my channel on YouTube. If you like this video, you're going to help me reach more people, which is actually kind of important because my subscriber count is pretty low and I need all the help I can get here. I'm just being honest. Plus, if you become a subscriber, I'll get my subscriber count up and I'll actually know that this is the sort of content you want to see in the future. Tactic number 2 is the skyscraper method. So the other technique I used to build backlinks to my site was the skyscraper technique, and this approach has become pretty popular. In fact, you might have heard about it already. If you don't know much about this technique, it basically revolves around the following steps. So number 1, identify a keyword you'd like to rank for. Then you look at the top ranking content for that keyword. Once you've done that, you look at the people that are linking to this content. You then create something better than the existing competitors' content, and you ask the people linking to your competitors to also consider linking to your content too. And that's pretty much it. Of course, you're probably thinking that this is all easier said than done. I mean, there's quite a few steps here, and whether you're an SEO newbie or a pro, it's fair to say that each step sounds kind of complicated and hard. And in a way, that's sort of true. I mean, to be honest, the skyscraper method isn't the easiest link building tactic on offer today, but it is one of the best approaches if you want to build high quality backlinks that don't go against Google's webmaster guidelines. Plus, the fact that this tactic is sort of hard is actually kind of a good thing. That's because the links that you secure with this approach are going to be hard to replicate. And that means it'll be harder for competitors to overtake you once you land these links. Plus, all of this work is worth it because each outreach campaign can actually bag you a huge number of links in a short amount of time. I mean, check out the number of sites that link to me. Of course, all of these links don't come from the skyscraper method, but even still, it'd be kind of hard to bag this many links if I just focused on the other strategies mentioned in this video. The benefit of the skyscraper technique is that it's very scalable and you can reach a ton of websites in a very short period of time. Anyway, with all that said, let's cover a few of the things you need to focus on if you want to get great results with this approach. So as mentioned, there are basically 4 things you need to focus on here, right? Number 1, identifying the keyword. Number 2, creating better content. Then you find out who's linking to competitors, and finally you do the outreach and watch the links come in. Now, the identifying a keyword task is probably the easiest bit here. I mean, you probably already have a decent sense of the keywords that you should focus on in your niche. Of course, if you don't know this, you can check out this video where I cover keyword research. It's called How to Do Keyword Research. You might not be surprised by that. And when it comes to creating better content, there are a few things you need to focus on. One way you can create better content is by making your content more in depth than what is already ranking. You might also want to make it more current so that it contains up-to-date information that your competitors don't have. On top of that, you might want to include some graphics so it's easier to interpret the information in the article. Now, if you want to find out who's linking to your competitors, you should probably invest in a tool like Ahrefs. There are free backlink trackers as well. You can check out my other video on backlink tracking. Using Ahrefs, you can basically just put the URL of an article into Ahrefs and it will then tell you who's linking to this content already. You can then identify the websites with a high domain rating and put them into a spreadsheet so that you can focus on them later on. If you want to check out Ahrefs, there's a link to this tool in the description of this video. And when it comes to prospecting and actually reaching out to people, there are a few things you need to focus on if you want to get great results. To begin with, you need to make sure you're collecting accurate emails. I mean, this method is going to fall flat if you're just sending prospecting emails to invalid email addresses. Luckily, if you use a tool like Hunter.io, it's really easy to validate which emails you want to reach out to and get backlinks from. If you want to learn how to use this tool, you can check out this video where I go over this tool and how it works. It's called How to Set Up Hunter.io Campaigns and Get Cold Emails Sent in 9 minutes or less. By the way, there's also a link to this tool in the description of this video. Anyway, you also want to make sure you're sending engaging emails. These websites probably get tons of requests for links, so you want to make sure yours stands out. Try to make your emails funny and concise, okay? If your emails are entertaining, people will be more willing to give you a link. For example, here's an outreach email I use for one of my other websites, relaxlikeaboss.com. If you check it out, you'll notice that it's relatively lighthearted and it doesn't really feel like a spammy email. You should try to do something similar when sending out your own outreach emails. If you don't think you can write emails like this, at least try to make your emails short and to the point. In fact, keep watching and you'll see that in the next section, I actually cover an outreach email that produced brilliant results, even though it wasn't that comedic or entertaining. This email worked because it was short and to the point. So keep that in mind if you're struggling with writing your email outreach copy. By the way, if you've got any really cool templates or tactics when it comes to sending cold emails, I'd love to hear from you. Share your strategies in the comment section below. And yeah, I also want to mention that you should send follow-up emails too. If you don't do this, you might end up missing out on a lot of really good opportunities to build backlinks. Anyway, that's basically how the skyscraper technique works for link building. It's helped me build a ton of great backlinks, and if you can get your head around how this method works, I'm sure you'll be able to achieve the same results. If you want to learn more about this strategy, you can check out this video, How to Build Backlinks with the Skyscraper Technique 2022, where I cover it in a lot more detail. Also, I just want to say that if you want to get results with this strategy, but you're feeling a little bit intimidated by the whole process, consider reaching out to us at juliangoldie.com. I've used this approach to build backlinks for myself, but also for many of my clients too. So if you're booking a free consultation at juliangoldie.com, I can definitely help you figure out how to get results with this approach. Tactic number 3 is video outreach, right? So the next method we're going to focus on is something called video outreach. And it's a really cool technique. I just don't see a lot of people doing it, right? This might sound like a bad thing, but when it comes to link building, creativity is very important. After all, if you can be creative, it's often easier for you to land links because you're taking a completely different approach. This is key because if you're requesting a link from people, they might be more willing to engage with you if you're using a different angle than everyone else. Either way, I really love this approach, and it's landed me some great links to some of my actual sales pages and my homepage too. This is actually kind of significant, because getting links to these kinds of pages is actually very hard, as they tend to be quite promotional. Of course, most people don't want to link to a page that's purely promotional. And that's why this method is so cool, because it actually helps me build links to these kinds of pages. For example, here's one of the links I managed to secure using the video outreach tactic. This link actually goes to my homepage. Anyway, before I explain how you can use this approach, let me just give you a quick rundown of the strategy. So there are 5 steps here. First, I go to the Content Explorer section on Ahrefs and I find a relevant topic that's getting a lot of attention, or a topic that's relevant to the page I'm trying to build backlinks to. I then look at the topics that come up in the Content Explorer of Ahrefs and I see what's attracting the most links. I then create a video around one of these topics. I actually then reach out to the websites that have covered these topics already and ask them if they'd be willing to embed my video. And finally, I come back to them a few weeks later and ask them if they'd be happy to credit my video by adding a backlink underneath it. Now, that sounds like a lot of work and you may be confused here, but don't worry, let's go through a real world example here that's based on my website. Hopefully this example will make things easier to understand. Right, so I wanted to build links to a page that was about link building. Because of this, I went to the Content Explorer on Ahrefs and typed in link building. By the way, a really important thing to note here is that I picked the title option. This just made it easier for me to identify content based on this topic. Anyway, once I did this, I then saw that the topic with the most links here was an article about link building strategies. Therefore, I knew that if I created a video based on a similar topic, I would also be able to get a good number of backlinks too. So once I figured this out, I then created a video based on the topic of guest posting for SEO, which is basically a video about one specific link building strategy for SEO. It's a pretty simple video. If you want to check out, you can here. It's called Guest Posting for SEO, Get Loads of Backlinks. Anyhow, I then created a pretty basic outreach email so that I could get people to actually use this video on their site and embed it and help their audience with it. And then send this email out to all the relevant websites that have talked about link building. Of course, as with the skyscraper technique, this is all a bit of a numbers game. Some websites are happy to give you a link, some don't really take an interest, some will, some won't. Who cares, right? But thanks to my simple outreach emails and my fairly large cold email outreach list, I eventually managed to secure a good number of backlinks using that strategy. And that's pretty much it. As you can see, it's not a particularly complicated method, but like the skyscraper tactic, it does require a good bit of upfront work. I mean, you need to create an engaging video or else it's going to be difficult for you to secure links. Of course, once you've made a couple of videos, you should be comfortable with making video content. And you should then find that you can knock out high quality videos very quickly. So that's the end of this video, and hopefully the link building tactics I've covered in this video will help you also build some amazing backlinks to your site too. P.S. If you want some advice on how you can pull these methods off, drop me a message in the comment section below and I'll be more than happy to help you out here. Anyhow, thanks for watching, and remember to like and subscribe. As I said before, my subscriber count is pretty low, and even though I appreciate every single subscriber so far, I would love you to like my videos so that other people can discover my content. Plus, if I can build a good audience here, I'm going to share more content like this. And if you've made it to the end of this video, I'm pretty sure that's something you definitely want more of too, right?